I hope you don't mind, Commander, but I've requested that a few of your generals should undo the havoc that is being caused by a group of lizard rebels. These misguided souls have taken to the teachings of a cult that worships the so-called One God, and they're causing no end of unrest where they dwell. I'm sure Henry and Edmund are the proper officers for the job, wouldn't you agree?
Yep.
They'll need to be diplomatic, though, if they seek to succeed.
Rage will spread.
Commander, a word in your ear. There seems to be a spot of trouble in one of the provinces. Some lizard rebel running amok. Naught but a trifle that Prospera has requested us to deal with. But she wants me and Bloody Edmund to go together. Yes, he's a lizard too, it stands to reason. But the man's as pleasant as a cactus down your trousers. So if you don't mind, I'll go alone. Practice? I'll be practicing skittles with his balls before the day is out. You know that cold-blooded cretin annoys me to no end. I'll follow your orders, Commander. But we're supposed to quell an uprising, you know. Not add fuel to the fire.
Choice but to wait. Two generals sent to Cromwell. Don't they have more to where it is? There's blah blah blah. Scorching things inside.
What a pair Edmund and Henry make, Commander. Worry no longer. The insidious religion of the One God no longer tempts a single lizard in the realm. They either pay homage to the Seven, or have the good sense not to prattle on about gods at all.
So...
We've returned from our mission, Commander.
Yep.
All's well among the lizards again. No more praise for the One God anymore, but proper prayer for the Seven, or whatever floats their boat. I was hoping for at least some resistance, so that I could spill a mite of their cold blood. But there was none to be had. Diplomacy, aka idle chatter, saved the day. Wasn't such a bad thing, looking back on it, that serpent of an Edmund tagged along. Obviously, we were plotting each other's demise from the get-go, but when push came to shove, we both wanted to appear the greater general, forced us to bring our A-game. Long story short, the cultists renounced their evil ways and were accepted back into society. Boring as fig stew. But Prospera's over the moon. She can stay there for all I care.
Sup, Commander?
Alright, let's see here. Ironclad and an armor. I wanted to attack everything they had.
Commander.
What?
You know we elves sometimes stuff our pipes with a few Druidini leaves so as to experience its gentle, mind-altering effects. There are some that say its use should be outlawed, but I want to propose the exact opposite. Studies have shown this plant's medicinal use can do wonders to alleviate pain. So I think every doctor should be allowed to administer Druidini like any other remedy.
What do you think?
What is it with you?
You say no?
Commander, if Druidini truly possesses the qualities attributed to it by Oberon, and under responsible medical supervision it may be used to alleviate pain, well then of course I support the elven bid.
Right, you...
Our studies show Oberon is correct, Commander. Sure, it took our researchers a very long time to write down their results, which they did in the weirdest of phrases, and for some reason they et and et and et. But one simply cannot dismiss their deductions.
Both in sickness and in health, we recognize the judgment of the gods, Commander, as we do in convalescence and death. Interfering by means of medicine is already a sin. Adding the use of vile narcotic...
Thank you, Commander. Druidini really is a wonderful herb if used with care and consideration. Hopefully the bad reputation it suffers among the likes of Falstaff and Yorick will dwindle in time
Charwin White Whiskers strikes again, Commander.
Who?
He's the foremost dwarven scholar, as I'm sure you know.
No.
And he's about to publish his 1000th article on natural history. Rumour has it he'll make a startling new revelation, and I'm anxious to read all about it.
I don't like the let's go. And if you're here, it's something about you.
Commander, a most grave and ignominious matter has come to my attention. Some dwarven quack, styling himself a scientist, claims he has found conclusive proof that we lizards, and some form of degenerate aquatic orc, are descendant of one and the same ancestor. He means to publish this rot in the Rivellon Scientific Gazette, thereby causing irreparable damage to our species' reputation. With the utmost insistence, I therefore urge you to halt this publication. And if the matter of censorship bothers you, think nothing of it. By blocking the printing of this inane nonsense, you're safeguarding not only the good standing of all lizards, but of the illustrious Gazette as well. A dwarven scholar, really. The very notion is ludicrous. Yes, well, I have a few words I've been saving for just such an occasion. He'll recant his aberrant ideas about evolutional origins, unless he wants me to teach him a thing or two about extinction.
be honest, Commander, I had expected more of old man Charwin. One has but to look at lizards to see whether they be distant relatives of orcs or not. Some great-great-great-grandmother of theirs romanced a snail at some point. Silly creatures.
Romance a snail.
Well, Commander, I must admit I was not wrong, but a tad less correct than I could have been about Dahl's Charwin White Whiskers, the dwarven scientist whose findings riled me so. As it would turn out, his article was far from complete, but the Rivellon Scientific Gazette wanted to publish it nonetheless, so as to make an ill portrayal of us lizards. The chief editor is some exasperating elf, apparently, who was once outwitted by a lizard in a business deal. Of course he was.
Huh?
The researcher's true findings, though, are quite interesting to say the least. The ancestor theory seems likely, but somewhere down the road a complete split was made, wherein all that was strong and shrewd flowed to our line, and all that was backward and bland was left to the orcs. His work is a celebration of lizard triumph in the course of evolution. I have seen to it, it will be published the realm round. There we have it, a dwarven scholar worth his salt. I had thought it as likely as Henry showing a display of wit. But I was mistaken, and that is a phenomenon less frequent than a snowstorm in the deserts of youthful Gaul.
That's amazing.
Commander, I'd like to address some issues I have with the Rivellon Times. Now, I know the press will try to embellish stories to make for more savory reading material. But half the stuff they print nowadays is fabricated nonsense of an almost always sensational or slanderous nature. I want you to reprimand them, Commander. I want it to be known that from now on they must either publish the truth or else publish no longer.
The Rivellon Times is no more than a daily dose of heresy for those that sinfully partake. Rather than admonish, you should abolish the thing altogether, Commander.
I find you're so retarded.
I couldn't agree with
Say yes.
The Rivellon Time.
I see no interest in the...
I thank you, Commander, to inform the general public of the events of the...
Great. The hell? Oh god. Right now. The fuck do you want?
Accursed be that hothead of a Henry, Commander. I'd rather swallow needles than endeavor a constructive discussion with him ever again. You know what he's like on the field. Always must he fly solo. Always must he go charging in like a bull in heat. Ridiculous. If he's thinking at all about what he's doing, it's with his brain that dangles, not deducts. The man's a menace, a danger to himself and others.
Whatever. I'm so fucking pissed off right now.
By all the gods, real or imaginary, devils take my manhood if that Catherine creature isn't a bigger bitch than a mountain-sized mastiff.
True.
So what if I wage war by my own rules and care little for her so-called team tactics? That's no reason to question my ability. She's lucky she has tits to prove she's not a man, or I'd have beaten her more savagely than a dwarf is anvil. Besides, what's the use of standing shoulder to shoulder when you know the fella next to you will run once the swords start ringing and the blood begins to flow? Aye, that's what happened the day I lost my arm. I stood my ground, alone. And the rest of the Emperor's generals, they outran their wives and their litter trying to escape. So much for loyalty. So much for duty. I find it a lot easier to tell the benefit of the doubt it can go shag itself. But if you insist, I'll give the others a chance. Though I'm sure they'll prove to be a bigger disappointment than looking for a brothel in an elf town.